Hi guys, it's me, and this week I thought it was time for another Dumb Decisions of Fictional Characters. The first, really just weird thought that I always get when reading this book is the fact that the Dursleys are, very against Harry going away. They don't want him there. But the second someone offers to take him away for a considerable amount of time, they're like, no. Which is weird to me because they hate him. I'm not quite sure why Harry wasn't okay with just telling Dobby, hey, my abusive family is downstairs, and if they hear me, talking to somebody, they're going to hurt me? Why doesn't he just say that to this house elf? And instead he sits there and lets it happen while trying very poorly to console him? So I may have mentioned this in the first video I did on this, but does anybody know why Dumbledore refuses to go to the Minister despite knowing that Voldemort is back? In fact, at the end of the book, he mentions that, his sources say that Voldemort is in Albania. So if you know where Voldemort is, and you know he's alive, why are you not contacting the one magical agency that exists to help you combat this threat? Why instead are you just 12-year-old can handle this? Why, when Harry comes down the stairs and is found covered in this pudding that his aunt made, right? And the Masons are freaking out or whatever, why does he not say to them, hey, they literally lock me in my room. They've taken all of my things, put them under the stairs, and they don't give me enough to eat. Why doesn't Harry mention this to people? Yes, the Dursleys are going to be really, really mad, but what else do you have to lose? You're already in an abusive situation. It literally cannot get worse for you. The worst that happens is they take you out of your house. This one really gets me. Why did Fred, George, and Ron not just go straight to their parents being like, look, Harry hasn't written back, we know that the muggles he lives with are just terrible, and we're worried about him. Can we do something about this? Why don't they say that, and then if their parents say no, do something? But instead you just bypass the whole asking and go straight for, should we ask Mom and Dad? No, let's just take this illegal car, fly it illegally, go break someone out of their house. Where is the thought process here? So, when I first read these books, I never really thought Lockhart was that bad. He was just kind of this weird guy who took credit for other people's work, right? But rereading the books, he was such a jerk. He forces all of these poor wizarding families to buy copies of his very, very expensive books for the sole sake of what? Boosting his ego and his, popularity? To make him more money? Why? You have no motive. People already like you. I mentioned this in the last video I did on this subject. What is treacle? I need to know. It's been mentioned 6 times now, and I don't know what it is. Dear Harry and Ron, if somehow you get locked out of the train station, have you perhaps considered waiting for your parents, because it's not like no one has ever missed the train before, and there must be ways around this madness. You could send a letter. You could wait for his parents to get back, and they can take you. Literally, the most stupid thing you could do is decide to steal Ron's parents' car and fly it. I understand that this is a wizarding school and all, but when you're letting 12-year-olds handle, screaming death baby plants, there's something a little off. I think Hogwarts may need to rethink the curriculum, because it's kind of troubling, to be honest. Lockhart again. You felt the need on the first day of class to let out a bunch of pixies in a room without telling a bunch of 12-year-olds at least one spell they could use to make them stop causing havoc. Draco clearly does not know how to act after you've committed any form of crime, because immediately after someone is found dead or whatever, or a cat is found paralyzed, or a message written in blood, you probably don't want to start going around hopping up and down, talking about how happy you are, threatening everybody, and telling other students that they're going to be next. Like, I'm not an expert on committing crimes or whatever, but I think that, like, acting happy about it is not the best course of action. I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge the convenience that is the 12-year-olds growing the same death baby plants that are needed to create the antidote for something that just so happens to be let loose that year. Just the idea in general of making a potion that can be used to change into somebody else to invade another student's privacy is really just idiotic. Especially when you're second-year students who aren't that good at potions anyway, and if you screw this up, you could very well do something wrong, and hurt or kill yourself, or make sure that you can never change back, or turn yourself into a hideous half-cat, half-human thing. Back to Lockhart. Letting a 12-year-old use whatever book from the restricted section they want, because they complimented you. Again, Lockhart, you're trying to do everybody else's bloody job. Back off, teach what you're supposed to teach, and stop saying stupid things. I don't understand why in Dueling Club it was seen as a good idea by Lockhart and Snape to choose Harry and Draco as the people who are going to be on the stage dueling each other, when they literally just had a full-out brawl 10 seconds before. To be honest, I don't understand Harry, Ron, and Hermione's obsession with doing incredibly stupid things for the point of finding out information, only to find out information and keep it to themselves. My favorite example of this being making a potion that you shouldn't make and could get you expelled to go invade another student's privacy in another house's common room, finding out that one student's father knows what's happening, and then deciding to keep that information to yourself instead of going to McGonagall or Dumbledore and saying, hey, we did a really bad thing, but instead of expelling us, we know what happened. We know that Lucius Malfoy is doing something that he shouldn't be doing, and Draco knows about it, but we don't know. Again with Wizarding Society. Hermione Granger just randomly turns into a half-cat girl, and nobody thinks to ask, hey Hermione, how did you become half-cat? Not one person. They just take her in, turn her back to human for a month, and then no one thinks for a second about the fact that she had ears, a tail, whiskers, fur. That was just a normal Tuesday in the wizarding world, apparently. Why is the school keeping Tom Riddle's service award after he's become a genocidal maniac? Harry and Ron. When a man who's being arrested for controlling the monster that is terrorizing your school says that you should follow the spiders, no matter how much you trust that man, should you really follow the spiders? Again with the whole, ignoring authority and deciding to do stuff on your own. After you've found that your friend has a piece of paper in her hand that tells you exactly what the creature that is terrorizing your school is, why do you not just automatically walk up to McGonagall and be like, hey, Hermione is really, really smart. We found this in her hand while visiting her. We think that it's a basilisk. Can you do something? We know where the chamber is, everything. Just, can you help us, please? But instead you decide that you know best and you're going to do it yourself. Lockhart saying so many stupid things about how, like, he knew everything and how he could do everything, that the entire staff decides to absolutely roast him as he's sitting there fumbling for words. Okay, in general, wiping people's memories and taking responsibility for their actions is not a smart thing to do. Like, it's going to catch up with you eventually, but then deciding that you've been caught and then deciding to cast a charm on other people using a broken wand, which you've seen all year cause nothing but destruction? That's genius. Dumbledore, why do you feel the absolute need to excuse this 12-year-old whenever he does something wrong? At least give him a detention. No, instead you excuse his exams, which is also a horrible decision, by the way, because now you've got all of these 7th years and these 5th years who are going to go out in a couple years trying to get jobs, and you know what they're going to say? You have no newt or owl qualifications. Well, Dumbledore canceled exams because the 12-year-old killed the snake. What do you want me to say? Just a horrible idea. All of it. So yeah, guys, that was the video. Like I said, I'm gonna do more of these in the future, and I want to kind of expand into different series and shows and whatever, so if you have any ideas for things I could do in the future, leave a comment, whatever. If you want to see more videos like this, you can like it. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. See you guys later.